Right, first of all, can everyone hear us okay? Yes, you can, because it's coming out of there. Could you turn your speaker down, please?
See, that's what I was testing.
There we go. Okay, hello everybody and welcome. Oh, you still got your speaker going. Welcome to, obviously, this Modeshift seminar about TravelWise Week. You. Any keys?
There
we go. 2 seconds. That didn't happen beforehand. Mic check. Doing its own thing.
Not very Peter, is it?
For now. There we go. Right, we'll start from there. Well, we didn't anticipate that happening. We've had our audio played back to us immediately off the laptop, but do forgive us for that. So welcome to this Modeshift seminar about TravelWise Week taking place later on during the year. My name's Adam Walker. Used to be involved with Modeshift, and hopefully there are a few familiar faces on there. I'm sure there will be. Introduce yourself.
I am Tom Murray. I am Modeshift Stars Program Manager on one of them alongside Cheryl, and also leading on the TravelWise Week engagement activity.
Fantastic. So just a bit of housekeeping before you begin. We've got loads of presentations available and we're going to get straight into them because at the end of the day, you're here to see those and not necessarily talk to us as much as we'd like to think so. So just a bit of housekeeping. We are going to be sharing slides obviously at the end of the webinar, and we will have them up on screen. We are going to be sharing presentations as we go, and as we are on an online webinar, we ask people to make sure that their microphones are muted and cameras are off, ideally. You know, if there are questions, we can absolutely accept questions, but please put them in the comments. And if we have time to go to them, we will. If we don't have time, we will be able to look back through the questions and answer them after the fact. But other than that, hopefully we go technical issue free and we'll be away. So if you want to share the agenda with us, Tom, that'd be great.
There we go.
Okay. Perfect. Do you want to take us through the agenda?
I will do, yeah. So we've got a really exciting session today. We've got some great guests joining us as well from various different organisations. So agenda-wise, it'll be myself and Adam are going to introduce a little bit more about TravelWise Week and the things that we're looking forward to and how we're going to run through this session as well. We're going to talk about kind of aims and ambitions of the campaign and really reflect on kind of how we're going to lead into it now as well and talk through the theme for this year too. So we're going to outline that between the two of us. We've then got our calls coming in, so we're delighted to be joined by Caitlin and Mark from Hull City Council to take us through how they've attacked TravelWise Week in the past and maybe some insights into what they're looking forward to doing this year. SAJ Transport Consultants have joined us, so Ruth is on the call and he's going to be again talking about how they've really used the campaign to embody active and sustainable travel within their workplace. And then we've got a great presentation from Lucy Barker at Tyler's Green Middle School and the kids, I should say, who play a starring role to really impact that we're looking at workplaces, schools, residential developments. We want everyone to get involved this year in TravelWise Week. So also on the call, we've got Rob Bounds, who's going to be joining us and running through how you can take part this year and ensure everybody goes away from this call really excited and understanding the resources and things they can really get involved in. And then a little bit of history of TravelWise Week. So we have Don in the room who's going to be joining us. Everybody knows Don. He's got a real history of TravelWise Week and certainly learned a lot from myself. So excited to have Don with us today. And of course to Gail as well, and the Modeshift and some of the Modeshift delivery team in terms of the resource that's going to be available to empower you to get involved in the campaign. So you're not on your own this year. We've got resources, we've got support there, and Gail's going to run through that. So, and then you'll be coming back to myself and Adam for some final questions and summary. So packed agenda for the call.
So we're going to keep an eye on the time, obviously. So if we do have to jump in, please forgive us because we do have lots of great stuff to get through. And what we're going to do is go straight into TravelWise all about. So could you share your screen? We'll go into our first presentation, which is our own presentation, and we'll put this on screen for everyone to see. What I would say is, hopefully, are we recording the meeting yet? Yep, we are. So obviously we are recording the meeting, so please be aware, obviously, if you're on this call, because this will be made available and public to all the delegates after this session has taken place. So
what I'm struggling with is my mouse has disappeared.
It's on this screen.
Okay. Oh, there we go. All right.
So hopefully that is as difficult as it gets for today. Okay, so we're just going to share our screen now, and we're going to go straight into our first presentation, which is about Modeshift and TravelWise Week.
Here we are. We've made it. We'll get the hang of this by the end of this call. Apologies, everyone. So I'll let you lead on this, Adam.
Yep. So obviously, TravelWise Week, it's a global yearly week-long travel challenge, and we are very much looking forward to seeing it take place. Gail has already had me fill something out, which I'll show you later. But I've already made a pledge, and we hope that, obviously, I know we're preaching to the choir here, but we hope everyone else joins us. But today it's all about how to travel wisely, what real ride, basically how you can get involved and what it's all about. This year it's taken place between the 16th and the 22nd of September, which is a great time of year to get involved, because schools are just going back and things like that. You can really open it up to all sorts of people. Oh yeah, I hope so. I think September is good for weather usually. And then obviously it coincides with European Mobility Week. So it's a really nice fit. It sits really nicely in the transport landscape, as well as obviously fitting with the school year and Modeshift stars on the school side of things. Yeah. And it counts towards stars accreditation.
Exactly. And what we really want Modeshift TravelWise Week to be is everyone can get involved. So you can do as little or as much as you like. So as Adam's just pointing out, during that week, the 16th to the 22nd of September, there is World Car Free Day. So we tend to see an awful lot of activity centre around that one day on that Friday. We'd really like to see activity throughout that week and support you to do that, and use the hashtag travel wisely. So the idea behind the campaign is we can start to generate more active and sustainable travel journeys within workplaces, schools, and in residential developments where they've been occupied. But it really is quite an open idea. Let's get everyone together. Let's make some noise. Let's get everybody moving and active in that week. But you don't have to have one central idea to it. It's come and get involved. Everyone should be involved. Make as much or as little as you possibly can, with the resources we've got available. So it's nice to see they've already got you doing a pledge, Adam.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't tell them what it was. It was just I didn't show it anyway. So yeah, I do like the openness about it. I think it's really important, because we're not just trying to, as you know, transport professionals, you're not just trying to work on one particular agenda item per se. Obviously, with Modeshift community, you've got a huge mix of people doing different things. So it's about how we apply that to the wider population. And I think that for me is what's really about it, because what you can do is hopefully take what you learned today and apply it to what's relevant, whether that is a specific target that you have to deliver against, or whether that you want to just open it up to more people, and give them the opportunity to just try and move a bit differently for a week. And it's a great excuse to do it in my book.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think we all understand behaviour change. Sometimes it's just having the opportunity to give something a shot. And I think TravelWise Week is ideal for that. So no expectations, come and get involved in next activities. Let's see if we can change some people's behaviours, whether it's one day a week going forward, whether they adopt the bike or the bus or the train, and it's something they can do longer term. But no expectations. Let's have a great week of activity, and let's try and get people trialing or getting involved in new modes of travel and transport. And I think the guys that are going to join us are going to really highlight how that's been done in the past.
Yeah, totally agree. I think we've got a good mix of examples in terms of what we're touching on there. So let's keep a time check. Yep, we are bang on time. So what we're going to do is go into our first presentation. Could you introduce them, please?
I will. So first up, and receiving an award last year on behalf of Hull City Council, we do have Caitlin, who is on the image there. from Hull City Council. We've also got Mark joining us on the calls who's worked with Caitlin heavily on on everything that Hull City Council have been involved with Modeshift Stars, but particularly on the communications and marketing of TravelWise Week as well. So Caitlin and Mark to join us on the call to talk us through their presentation on TravelWise Week.
Yep, so we've got the presentation here for Caitlin and Mark.
Yep.
So obviously if you could unmute yourselves, Caitlin and Mark, and make yourselves known to the call, that would be appreciated. This is a bit where we hope voices appear.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Right, we are not going to hang around. When you want us to, you can bring that up on there now because we're going to mute our microphones. Caitlin, the floor is yours. We're going to take our microphones away. After you.
Brilliant, thank you. So hello, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Caitlin Adams, Travel Plan Officer for Hull City Council. And I'm here today joined by my colleague Mark Bateman, Senior Marketing Exec for Active Travel, to present our award-winning TravelWise Week campaign that ran between the 16th and the 22nd of September in 2023. The series of activities and initiatives were organised and delivered by Hull City Council and partners, including Humberside Police, First Step Sports, Revolution, Neighbourhood Network, East Yorkshire Buses and Stagecoach. Next slide, please. So our first activities of the week began with a selection of 30-minute Rusty Rider taster sessions and guided walks as part of the Hull Maritime project. This was delivered by First Step Sports. The free Rusty Rider sessions were aimed at both staff and students at the University of Hull. Free guided walks were also available over the weekend, providing visitors and residents the opportunity to learn more about the maritime city of Hull. On Monday, the 18th of September, we teamed up with local cycle charity partner Revolution, Humberside Police and Neighbourhood Network to deliver a city centre cycle event. The aim of the event was to encourage those working and living in the city to take up on cycling for their daily commute, reduce the potential for bike theft, and also increase the visibility of cyclists over the autumn-winter period ahead. Funded by Hull City Council, a free bike library provided business employees with the opportunity to take up on a free refurbished bike and helmet. Humberside Police also supported the event with free secure bike marking, which was offered to both those who took up on the free bike initiative and also to the wider public. We also had Neighbourhood Network present on the day, offering discounted D-locks, which were also available to purchase. On Tuesday, we ran a bus and bike promo day, which was held at the University of Hull during Freshers Week. 70 inquiries were made to book onto our Rusty Rider programme, which is a free adult cycle training programme that helps to increase confidence of riders in a safe and secure environment. East Yorkshire Buses were also present on the day, providing students with information on bus routes, tickets and freebies. On Wednesday, our activities were held online with a how to perform a cycle M-check video. This was demonstrated by our partner Revolution, explaining the cycle checks you need to take before you ride, particularly useful for those who are thinking of getting back in the saddle. Other digital content included a feature with local tour guide on walking in Hull, highlighting why Hull is perfect for exploring on foot. Online promotions were aimed at anyone thinking of riding or walking during TravelWise Week and beyond. This then led nicely into Thursday with a free morning guided walk led by the dedicated volunteers of Hull Maritime. And then finally, on Friday, the 22nd of September, World Car Free Day, the big one, we held a bus event, which was delivered by key stakeholder members of the Hull Bus Alliance, including Stagecoach, East Yorkshire and Hull City Council. Within the city centre, a bus surgery event was hosted in Queen Victoria Square. And the main aim of our World Car Free Day event was to promote an alternative means of transport over private car use, using the £2 single journey fare as an initiative to help leave the car at home this World Car Free Day. The event was an opportunity for the public to ask questions, find out more on tickets, timetables, services, and it was a huge success and was attended by over 250 people on the day. I'm now going to hand over to Mark to talk about the comms.
Thank you, Caitlin. So in terms of how we went about attacking our Modeshift Stars, our TravelWise Week campaign last year, we looked at it in various forms, but basically we wanted to set out our key objectives, and our key objectives were to promote the good work that the council and its partners are doing, and how by working together we are there to help break down barriers to active and sustainable travel within the city. We wanted to ensure good levels of attendance and engagement with those identified stakeholder groups in terms of the planned programme of activities and events that we had arranged. And we wanted to engage with businesses and organisations who were signed up to our Modeshift Stars programme through the travel plan process to support them in encouraging their workforces to choose active and sustainable travel options. It was a multidisciplinary campaign. By that I mean that we had media coverage from the back of things that we'd done, such as press releases, setting up media interviews. It had digital content, as Caitlin alluded to, in terms of video content about how to perform a Cycle M check, or we did a long read feature with a well-known tour guide within the city, which obviously got very good coverage via our social media channels, as I say, council, with quite a lot of people responding from much further afield than the city, who'd met Paul Schofield, our tour guide, and knew of him and knew of the tours that he'd given within the city. We did an internal comms element to promote TravelWise Week and Modeshift to our own staff. And we did some B2B work, so we created marketing collateral which we could share with our Modeshift Stars business partners, who they could then use internally with their staff. So in terms of media coverage, one of the things we did during the week, our portfolio holder for transportation was a guest on the BBC Breakfast show on BBC Radio Humberside, which went out to an average audience of around 61,000, where he was interviewed about TravelWise Week, why the council was encouraging participation within it, what type of alternative options were available. To which point Kofi Smiles, who's obviously there on the picture, then carried on the conversation with inviting spirited debate and conversation from listeners. In terms of our organic social media campaign, obviously I've alluded to some of the types of content we put out there, but we did overall 35 posts across the week building up to TravelWise Week and TravelWise Week itself. And that was across Facebook and Twitter predominantly. We got an overall impressions of over 93,000 on our content, with an average engagement rate of around 3.4%, which obviously probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people on this call, but for me that's obviously a very exciting number because it's higher than the industry trend for those platforms. And we were also able to generate clicks back to our Travel Hall website and views of video content as well. As I said, we promoted it internally to our own staff, and we did that primarily through our intranet, through our e-newsletter to colleagues, but also through the creation of podcasts which were played internally. So we were keen to continue the theme of interviewing real people. So we spoke to a colleague who'd taken up cycling and was cycling to work, to ask her about why she'd done that, how she was finding it, what the sort of benefits were in her view on why cycling was important. So touching on things like health and well-being, saving money on travel costs, etc. And then we did a piece with our resident expert who works in our climate change team about some of the environmental benefits of changing up how we travel. You know, whether even it's just one day a week or whatever, how it all adds up and builds up and helps the city to achieve its environmental targets. And as I say, in terms of business engagement, we produced content which we sent to 10 businesses who were on our Modeshift Stars programme. who had a combined workforce of around about 8,000. So, and the purpose of those bits of communication was to obviously encourage them to consider alternative forms of travel during the week, and by signposting them to various things, whether it be Rusty Rider's programme, whether it be the services provided by our cycle charity partner Revolution, who enable people to, get access to a refurbished bike or bike repairs, etc. So that's kind of the approach we took to last year's campaign.
Perfect.
Right, so at the start of the webinar, just by the way, we had this laptop playing some sound, but obviously we don't think that that came out. So you must have thought we were being really odd.
Yeah.
So please forgive us. Right, we're going to go straight into the next presentation. Please, can you introduce
Yeah. We are going to recap some of this activity at the end of these 3 presentations. So lots to take in there. We will come back to it. And thanks, guys, for sharing that. We're going to go straight into Ruth Simpson, who's a senior transport planner at SAJ Transport Consultants, and who can talk us through the next 2 or 3 slides. So if you could join the call, Ruth, that'd be absolutely brilliant.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can indeed.
Lovely, lovely.
We'll leave you to it.
Thanks very much. So it was our first TravelWise Week experience, and we thought that we would start with that as an internal promotion activity. We were also in the process of writing our own travel plan, and if we can just have the next slide, please. Lovely. And so really our objectives for the week was to have a low cost scheme, but for the whole of our staff to engage in the scheme. Some of the objectives also included a bit of team building for people working together. We've found that with a lot of homework and when people are in the office together, it's very, very focused on work, and those sort of social interactions have been lost a little bit. So it was just sort of rebuilding some kind of community within the office. We also wanted people to have personal achievements, to feel that they've got something out of the week, and also explore new ways to travel, mainly for the commute, but also for business travel opportunities as well. So initially we came up with a plan of events for the week. We actually started a day early because we wanted to get our pledges in and get those recorded. Throughout the week we had a step challenge, and on each day we had something going on, so that was communicated to all staff in advance, and that was our plan. We also had kind of the notes board within the office just to keep everything up to date and try and remind people that things were going on. Next slide, please. So day one on the step challenge sort of launched on the Saturday to give us the full week's results, and as part of that, people made sort of pledges based on their historic step information, if they had smart watches, that type of thing, or they set themselves a goal. And generally, people set a target of increasing that by 10 to 20%. We asked people to submit their information on a daily basis. That helped keep momentum and heighten the profile of the week and the activities. It also enabled progress reporting with a little bit of healthy competition between people. And then we sort of went on to the new mode Monday, and that was really for everyone to try a different way of getting to work, incentivized by a breakfast, and that just gave people another option as to whether that was feasible or viable, but it gave us that opportunity. The Tuesday was a wellbeing walk, and from a kind of socials point of view, this was probably our most successful in terms of the engagement that we got through LinkedIn, which would be our profile that we would use most. And actually, in terms of a staff response, that was very successful. It gave us time outside of the office just to kind of have that interaction. Next slide, please. So we then hit up a transport trail, which was actually quite a fun activity between staff groups. It was an old school treasure hunt of travel and transport related things through the city with no Googling or journey planning. So that was quite fun. There was a list of around 30 or so different things to find, evidenced by taking pictures, and that ranged from infrastructure such as different pedestrian crossings, that type of thing, to random things like public clocks with a specific time on, a mounting block for getting on a horse, a Roman shoe, and there was also statues of the great engineer George Stephenson. The teams were actually selected randomly, and the roles as well, which created more opportunities for staff to interact differently rather than the normal default of roles within the office. We also had a transport CV, and from our perspective as transport consultancy, it was really useful to get that insight as to how or what people had in terms of their experiences of using different types of transport, because we want to work on those information and skills and experiences that people already had. And that was quite insightful, as well as to the various forms of transport that people had or had not used. Throughout the week, people were sort of collecting points depending on these activities that they were taking part in. The photograph competition that we had, again, it was sort of picking up on the transport themes. The winning photograph, which is sort of centre bottom, it was a colleague, and actually that was European Mobility Week, which her mum was taking part in Spain, so that won the competition on that day. The week finished off with Car Free Friday and awards, and as I said, people got points throughout the week for participating in different events. The step challenge actually gave a lot of opportunities for people to be kind of rewarded for most consistent stepper, the greatest stepper, the greatest achiever against target on a particular day or throughout the week, the least steps in a day, and I think it depends on your audience. That went down quite well in our office, but it was a well-humoured staff member. The team prize for the transport trail had the best picture, and then overall sort of a champion of champions within the office. It was a really positive experience, and I think, as well as kind of inputting into activities within our own travel plan, it kind of gave us a test as to what would work within sort of other organisations. Obviously, from sort of Caitlin's perspective and the whole, the reach was really far. We were concentrating as a small transport consultancy on our sort of staff and what we could do, fitting in on our sort of day-to-day basis, and how that could potentially be rolled out. The final slide, please. So we looked at the feedback from last year, and I think had some sort of key points. The staff really enjoyed the competition element, particularly the step challenge, and I think that was really useful, kind of keeping the momentum throughout the week. It gave us the opportunity to reflect on the current travel arrangements and try alternatives. We also, for business travel, we have co-wheels, which are located as a sort of car hire scheme, so we can access those rather than having to use private cars. We also had the sort of social interactions, and we got improved knowledge of our local area. Staff got recognition and reward for taking part, and for next year, or sorry, this year, I think key points would be to plan, promote and record the evidence. We're definitely doing the step count competition again. We are actually having a social team beach day, so we're going to incorporate some activities in that. And whilst it's a sand castle competition, I think that we'll be picking on this year's theme of shared space. So we'll be working on that as well. And finishing off with the World Car Free Day. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Massive thank you, Ruth. That was great. A competition.
I really like the idea of sharing space on a beach.
Yeah.
That's an interesting technique.
I can see the competition getting out of hand. So thank you so much. A bit of competition is always good fun. And we're going to recap on this after our next presentation.
Yeah,
Who's next on?
perfect. So we're going to move on to Tyler's Green Middle School, who were a great part in our campaign last year. And if all else fails, if you're not quite there getting involved this year, we're going to set the kids on you. So we're going to pass over to Tyler's Green Middle School. Unfortunately, Lucy Barker, the teacher, and the kids couldn't join us, but they've sent us a nice presentation that they're going to run us through. So here they are, the kids.
Karen.
Is we're going to circle back for that so we can have a look at this laptop and make sure that we're sharing the sound appropriately. I think what we'll do.
Should we play the kids?
Will it play? Have we got audio?
We've got the kit. Well,
yeah. So what we'll do, we'll recap those first two presentations.
Yep.
Okay. If you give me a second, I'm going to hand this laptop off camera and we'll do that. So if you pass that, unplug that one, and then we'll do that. What I'll do is while we're unplugging that laptop, John, just go and hand that over. A couple of things that I pulled on there from Hull. I think the thing that struck me about Hull was just the vast range of stuff is probably how I'd very simply put it. In terms of bus, bike, digital content, obviously I'm a comms guy myself. I love seeing good comms and good campaigns. What struck me about that is they're talking to all different kinds of audiences there, where actually, turn that off so you don't have to look at that. So where actually press, radio, digital content on social media, for me in a world of social media and content, the whole reason why I got into it, me personally, and this is me here, but this because I was doing something and I had to try and get people to get there. So for me, seeing a rounded program with all of those comms around it was absolutely fantastic. And then the fact that you've offered that breadth, so people can then choose to do what they would like to do in terms of they've got options. I think that's really important to deliver a successful campaign.
Yeah, right. And also different modes. So yeah, like such a variety of different modes. And I think Ruth picked up on it. I know you're going to go into Ruth, kind of having that ability to have a wide reaching through the comms and marketing campaign that kind of is across a local authority region, but then also still being able to be part of the campaign, but really focusing it on your specific employees as well. So two great examples, but Hull definitely used their kind of expertise in the comms and marketing.
And actually, I've written a few points here. First of all, I touched on competition. I've given out stickers at events, and honestly, it gets really competitive. You know, people will do things for a sticker. You know, in terms of if you've got some kind of engagement thing going on, as long as they've got to complete a task rather than just take the sticker, they'll do it. So I see that works really good in pledges. But what struck me about the SAJ presentation is the walk was titled a well-being walk. It wasn't titled go for a walk or start walking to work or walk to school. It was a well-being walk. And the thing that kind of stood out in what Ruth was saying was the fact that people are using it as a break from their work. They're kind of networking, I suppose, as well, and getting to know each other. But the focus was on well-being. Yeah. And often, as we use transport, we use it to get somewhere or to achieve something or do something. So whether that's getting somewhere for an event, the fact it was a well-being walk kind of removed that barrier to just come and do some exercise. You know, sometimes exercise can be a barrier to people. So I thought that was a really good way of phrasing a walking program where the focus is actually about well-being, and the fact that you're walking is kind of incidental in that regard.
Yeah, and also, like you said, you know, themes coming through from the environmental sort of side of things as well within that scheme. So, but you can pick up a focus with TravelWise Week and kind of use it how you want. It doesn't have to. It can be well-being. It could be maybe you're trialing new routes for efficiency into the office. It could be the fact that you're promoting new schemes that are coming and using the campaign as a catalyst to that. So, yeah, it has flexibility. It's about bringing all of those themes out. But yeah, really good example of kind of, I think Ruth mentioned it, getting together a group of people who perhaps don't work together in a physical sort of sense an awful lot of the time. And yeah, Wellbeing Walk is always a great example of that.
100%. So just remember, we are taking questions. So please submit your questions to the group. I'm just trying to log into Teams in the background while we're there. Just bear with me, that's all muted and fine. So yeah, if you do have any questions, please submit your questions in the chat and we'll pick some of those up. But I think, no, two fantastic presentations there. How are we getting on with the school presentation? We're ready to go. Try it. Right, we're going to give it a go.
Give it a go.
Bear with us.
Hello, my name is Lucy Baker and I'm a Year 6 teacher at Tyler's Green Middle School. I'm also the lead on Children's Voice and take responsibility for our school travel plan and school council. Apologies first of all for my croaky voice. I've recently returned from our Year 6 residential, spending time with 64 11-year-olds, very excited 11-year-olds, and I think my body has just gone into shock, even worse than the 2 toddlers I have at home. So I was asked to talk to you all today about our TravelWise Week campaign that we ran in 2023 at the start of the school year in September. So along with a video from our children, I'm just going to briefly talk you through how we planned the week and how it benefited our school. So why did we get involved in the first place? Tyler's Green Middle School, we're basically working towards the next level of our school travel plan. So we were on a bronze, a good level at the start of the year, and we really wanted to aim high, surpass silver and get to gold by the end of the year. And TravelWise Week was the perfect opportunity to involve the wider community, which was one of the things we thought we were currently lacking in our travel plan. So we were already promoting things like walking to school through WOW, which is a Living Streets initiative, but we wanted to reach out to local businesses and families and try and push our message of sustainability and active travel a little bit further. So like most village schools, there is limited parking nearby, so the fewer cars the better. So encouraging parents from the start to walk where possible was a really important message we've always been wanting to push. Our school council already take on the role of JRSOs, which are Junior Road Safety Officers. So taking the opportunity to promote that, for them to promote TravelWise Week, was the perfect extension of what we were already doing and our ethos. So TravelWise Week was sent to us in emails and things through Modeshift, and it highlighted very early on that if you wanted to enter, you could plan your week. So I sat down with my school council and we decided how we were going to run it. So on the Monday, we launched the whole event. So I think the Friday before, we sent out a letter to parents. Now, because it was the start of the year, it was the perfect opportunity anyway to lay out what our ethos was. So we could introduce our living streets and things like that we already do. And we have parking promises where parents can promise to park safely and considerately, to, especially affecting the residents in our local area. So we sent out a letter, and we also said some wider things we do. We get involved with Road Safety Week, Clean Air Day, and we also introduced this opportunity about TravelWise Week. So we did that through a letter, and then the children and our head teacher also led an assembly to tell them how the week would unfold. Some of the resources that Modeshift sent out included a TravelWise Week I pledged to, so the opportunity for children to make a promise. So we thought, let's make use of those, and we'll try and appeal to parents, staff and children to all make a promise about something they can do specially that week to make a difference on the way we travel to school. So some children are unable to walk every day to school, but promise to get involved in Car Free Friday. Some of our staff did some car sharing. And we also talked about things that we can do every day to make a difference. Maybe you could scoot to school, maybe you could walk with friends. And we tried to look at all of the different benefits of doing active and sustainable travel. What was so fantastic is the children made a list of all the local businesses they knew of, and some of them they knew their parents worked for, or some of them they knew because they used the shop regularly. And we went out, we asked those people to make pledges as well. So we had some chain companies, we had some little village independent stores, and we had some businesses. Zanopa in particular were one of them. And they even started a bike scheme inspired by wanting to help our cause. So on the Wednesday, we decided that we wanted to focus more on the well-being of children. So it's something that, again, is part of our ethos in school, thinking about the benefits that active travel may have on their mindset. So we talked about the benefits of being amongst nature, having social time with family and friends, and also just having fun, maybe scooting to school, cycling to school, and starting a day in an active way. So on the Thursday, which is our usual day for setting homework across the school, we decided to set a whole school themed homework based on TravelWise Week. And we wanted children to focus on appreciating their journey to school, however that took place. So we were getting children to creatively, in whichever medium they wanted to, explain and share their journey with us. So some children wrote little stories, some annotated maps, some collected little items from their walk to school. And it was something that we also let parents know about, because inevitably parents have more involvement in homework. So we thought that would engage them too. So we finished our week, culminated in celebrating the National Day, World Car Free Day, which we had promoted to parents earlier on in the letter in the week, and we kept talking to children about throughout the week in our various assemblies and class discussions. And we did see on that day, through our WOW monitoring of travelling to school, that there were fewer children that were using a car to get to school, more walking, scooting, cycling, which was ultimately what we are aiming for. So looking back, there have been absolutely tons of benefits from getting involved in TravelWise Week. First of all, obviously, the reaching out to the community and meeting new people led us to new community groups that we could share with, which we have continued to do so, and building those relationships and personal relationships between me and the people who run those businesses and our school council, knowing their names, has made really good links, so that when we're promoting things we're doing in school in the travel calendar, they can get involved too where possible. Since our last travel survey, we have seen an increase in the number of children traveling actively. So whether that's through parking and striding, where they park further away and walk the last journey to school, keeping the roads outside safe, we've seen that. And we've seen a rise in cycling, scooting and walking. We generally have a greater awareness in our community of the things we've done to promote active travel. So we've done that through the newsletter, through community groups, through social media. And it also contributed to our achievement of an excellent travel plan, which means we did achieve our target of moving from bronze to gold in one academic year. So overall, we are so pleased we got involved. But I think the people who will say it best are the children. So I'm now going to link you to another video so you can see what they thought of TravelWise Week. Thank you.
Welcome to Tyler's Green News. Today we understand we have a much larger audience.
Although we don't have our usual intelligent child viewers, we've hopefully managed to make this accessible to grown-ups too. Not too many big words.
Over to our pupils to tell you more.
Tyler's Green, active and sustainable travel is really important to us. When we found out about TravelWise Week, we knew we wanted to be involved.
School Council came up with a plan to encourage the community and our school to travel to school more actively.
We love to be creative and dramatic, can't you tell?
We thought it would be impressive to make a video promoting what we've been doing here.
It was this video that we sent to
Local businesses, community groups
and parents.
We shared it on our website and even attracted the attention of our local MP, Steve Baker.
This is Parliament, and I'm Steve Baker, the Member of Parliament for Wickham. I want to say a huge congratulations to everyone at Tyler's Green Middle School. I'm delighted that you've been shortlisted for Best TravelWise Week campaign.
He sent us a selfie from Parliament!
So many local people wanted to be involved. We had everything from HR companies, village shops, local cafes and window companies. Now these businesses and many others continue to help promote active travel through different events in the travel calendar.
You made friends for life!
We're so proud of getting this ball rolling, and now we hope it keeps its momentum.
We interrupt this report for some breaking news. Well, actually, it's to show off just a bit.
Tyler's Green Middle School were the winners of the Best TravelWise campaign in schools 2023.
Check this out!
Since then, we have already celebrated
What school week? Road Safety Week. Clean Air Day. Year 5 have done bikeability too.
Since our last travel survey, we've seen a big increase in active travel to school.
So I reckon we smashed it on the board.
Okay, if we weren't available for this job, I think those kids could do it because they were absolutely brilliant. They were so good. That was absolutely fantastic. I've been joined by Don, the main man. How are you?
Hello, good to see you.
Are you well?
I'm very well indeed, thanks.
We're gonna come on to your stuff shortly in terms of what we're going to be catching up with. But what do you think of those kids?
They are amazing. That's what TravelWise Week is all about. The diversity, the interest, the excitement. That's what we're aiming at.
Yeah, certainly excitement there. They absolutely loved that week. It was fantastic, really impressive. Definitely a great example to work with. We are just reconnecting to our screen as we're talking, and then we're going to be going over to Mr. Rob Bounds. Rob, are you there? He is.
Hello, everybody. I'm here.
Hello, Rob. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very well, thank you. We're just getting this on. That's okay. We're just trying to get your presentation on screen. Okay. Can you see the presentation there, Rob?
I can't now.
2 seconds. Bear with us. Apologies for that. Okay, do you want to give us a quick overview, Rob, while we're waiting?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, everybody. I'm Rob. I work for Derbyshire County Council, but I'm also the Modeshift Executive for Equality and Diversity. So I'm just going to talk to you through about how you can get involved this year and just really kind of picking up on a lot of the things that have already been said. So, what we'd really like you to do is to join us and travel wisely, and we're going to give you 3 things to do. We want you to walk or wheel or ride, and that is to help create a healthier, greener, cleaner and safer places for everybody to time with that theme of a shared space for everybody. So next slide, please. And next one again. So things that you can do is obviously go for a walk or a wheel, and we know that walking and wheeling are great ways to travel more actively. It helps to keep you fit, and being outdoors is great for your mental health, especially if you can walk and wheel with others and have a chat along the way. And of course, it's environmentally friendly too. So obviously, some of the ways that you can encourage walking and wheeling during Modeshift TravelWise Week are, if you can, swap a car journey for a walk or a wheel to school or to the shops or to work or any other destination. Next animation, please. And as we've seen, maybe go for a walking or wheeling discovery trail or wellbeing walk to find out about what's in your local area and what they have to offer. And again, to incentivize that, next animation, please, to organize maybe an active travel breakfast to encourage walking and wheeling. So if it's too far to walk or wheel, then maybe you could go for a cycle ride instead. It helps to get your heart pumping and your muscles moving, and it's a fume-free way of traveling. So ways to encourage cycling during TravelWise Week could be to get ready for that ride with some cycle training, like the Rusty Rider training, or some cycle maintenance with Dr. Bike. We know in school that it's a really busy time of year in September, and the week afterwards is Bikeability Trust Cycle to School Week. So maybe your participation in Modeshift TravelWise Week could actually be pledging to take part in TravelWise Week, or if you're a business, the Love to Ride scheme with our partners Love to Ride. And again, get that bike out, go for a ride to school or to work or to the shops or to any other destination, or again, just for fun. So staying on the theme of going for a ride, maybe it's about getting a ticket to ride. So we know that buses and trams and other modes of public transport are great ways to get lots of people moving rather than having them in cars. Saves you the hassle of finding somewhere to park, and you don't get stuck in traffic jams. So again, ways to encourage public travel during Modeshift TravelWise Week could be about checking out to see what local public transport services are near you, looking out for those special ticket deals so that you can go for a bus or a rail ride. And of course, if the entire journey isn't possible by public transport, then maybe you could park and ride. Next animation, please. And again, maybe you can share the ride. So thinking about car sharing, reducing the number of cars on the road is obviously great. It helps to reduce our carbon emissions. It reduces and improves air quality, and it makes it easy for those who are walkers, wheelers and cyclists. So again, during TravelWise Week, you could, if traveling by the car is the only option, see if there's somebody traveling in the same direction as you and car share. And also, you could perhaps have some traffic-free or fume-free zones by encouraging people to switch off their engines, leaving their car at home, and again, park and stride, or maybe park and wheel or park and ride, if that's available to you. But that's quite a lot to do, and we've seen obviously the other people doing those things over each of the different days, which is great if you can. But if there's just one thing that you can do is maybe combine them all together and have a walk, wheel and ride day, which obviously could be at any day during the week. So what do we want you to do to get involved? Well, first of all, tell us all about it. So pledge and register at travelwiseweek.org.uk and tell us how you plan to take part. It's a really simple form. And then to share what you're doing with your pledge with the social media hashtags there that you can see on screen. And of course, all of those things that you're doing, just as Tyler's Green School explained, can all help towards your travel plan styles accreditation. So this year, for the first time, we've created a new code, again, to give you another additional boost towards your accreditation. So that's PR28 for STARS Education and BP20 for STARS Business, Residential and Healthcare, so that you can actually log that activity. But all the other things that you do during that week, obviously all count towards accreditation. Next slide, please. So you will also be able to enter the Modeshift awards, which there'll be more information later. So we're really looking forward to joining us this week with a walk, a wheel or a ride to help create healthier, greener, safer and healthier places for everybody. Thank you.
Okay. Back on. Thank you, Rob. That was fantastic. Do you know what's popping in my head? The triathlon of travel.
Triathlon of travel.
Triathlon of travel. There's a thing in that. Everyone else might think it's a rubbish idea, but there we go. Nick's doing hand movements. You should. I'm Team Modeshift. Team Modeshift. Yeah. Team Modeshift. Triathlon of travel. Something like that. But no, fantastic. And thank you so much, Rob. Rob, you do such amazing work. And it's always a pleasure to hear your presentation. So thank you.
So we've had the workplace, we've had the consultants, we've had the school, and we've had the local authority. And now we're going all in. We're having the Don of TravelWise Week himself here to put the last bit of pressure on and get everyone involved.
Here he is. Right. So obviously we've had a quick chat with you there on the previous slide. Thank you for making the journey to the studio.
A pleasure. Always a pleasure.
All right. So our first question. History of TravelWise.
Well, TravelWise Week's been around as long as I've been involved in transport, about 22 years. Started in the early noughties, and it was originally aligned to European Mobility Week, but European Mobility Week itself has gone worldwide. with events in Turkey, Japan, South Korea, Peru, Chile, Argentina. So we're part of a worldwide program for sustainable travel. And it's really, really important that we're part of that network and that we're seen to be doing something really good here in the UK.
Yeah, I think that harps back to this collective, everyone working collectively. In a common objective. Now with transport, there's so many different ways to do that.
Of course.
But that's why you want to work with everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. And over those years, there's been some fantastic stuff going on, particularly in Car Free Day, where we've, before austerity, I think somewhere in the region of 76 cities in the UK did a car-free day. All of that disappeared with the onset of austerity. Not all of it, but a lot of it. But what's interesting about some of those car-free days back then is a lot of those streets that they closed off are actually now permanently closed to traffic. So it isn't just like a one-off thing where we do something in a street for a day, then it goes back to traffic forever. A lot of those streets are now closed to traffic. So we've made a real impact.
Yeah, I think it's a case of taking on the norm challenge, people, quite often we just go to what we think is the first and easiest thing. And it's good just to take a moment to think outside of that, isn't it?
To quote last year's conference, motor normativity.
Yes, yeah.
that was the buzzword for me from that conference. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I was just going to jump in on that. I was just going to say, I think something you both picked up on there is kind of that coming together as well. So much of kind of our industry, travel and transport, and thing can be hidden. So much great work that goes on that can be hidden. And some of the great programs that become permanent measures are great, and they become more obvious. Yeah. But TravelWise Week campaign is a great reason to get together and make everything kind of really visual.
I think it's an excuse to be visible, isn't it? Like exactly it's hard to be seen. Yeah. A lot of the infrastructure projects are seen because it's bricks and mortar, for want of a better word, but it's physical. Often it's physical, and you see that. All the behaviour change stuff that everyone's dealing with day in, day out. Yeah. There are numerous projects, things being delivered, and actually TravelWise Week is just another platform to kind of go, hey, we're here. And by the way, we don't have to always do the same thing. We can actually try some new things. We could try a travel triathlon.
Triathlon.
I am thinking some of those destinations, Roof might have trouble winning the sandcastle competition though. So we'll have to see how we get on.
Yeah, there might be.
And I mean, there's been some really inspirational stuff over the years. If I can pick a couple, really. 2019, the Mayor of London closed 12 miles of London's roads, and including doing a aerobics and yoga session on Tower Bridge. It was absolutely fantastic. And that momentum was a bit derailed by the pandemic, which came the year after. But that was a highlight really in the UK. But if I can look at something even more inspirational, in the last 2 years, the Ukraine has run, I think, 6 car-free days in a war. And in one of the towns, one of the cities, Chernihiv, the Russians had invaded, they'd taken the town, the Ukrainians had forced them back out and back to the Russian border, because it's only a few kilometers from the Russian border. And 6 months later, they ran a car-free day. Now, that is absolutely inspirational. And they did, I think it was an extra city last year, and they'll be fully involved this year. So if we can do it in the middle of a war zone, we can do it here. And I think that's truly inspirational. And I want to be a part of that.
I'm blown away with that one, to be honest. That is really quite something. But obviously, something that they were like, this is the vision that we need to do. This is what we, and they've pushed on with that. And I think that's fantastic. I think, we've obviously gone through a few examples of some of the things being involved. Obviously, a big part of the challenge, I suppose, people have to overcome is saying, right, take part in TravelWise Week. That's one thing, but getting people to take part is the other. I mean, what have you seen that has been a good way of getting people to get involved with TravelWise Week, as in the punters at the end of the day who are actively participating?
Don't say this is some great big massive thing that that you can be a part of. take it down to where they are, take it down to where their level is, take it down to what's important to them. So, for instance, what's important to shoppers, it's to shops rather, it's people in the street, isn't it? So get them on board with activities which would increase the number of people walking and cycling to their shops. Look at it on the small scale and then promote it at the mega scale. I think that's the key, really.
Yeah, I suppose it's that balance of thinking about a lot of people, but also thinking about very specific, what is this specific initiative for? How can we apply that? And then how you then grow that at scale.
And if you want to do, I mean, in my experience, I think I've run 12 car-free days now. The best place to start is outside of school, because if the school's on board with it, obviously they'd have to be, it's a really good thing. You run events in the street outside the school all day, and nobody really objects to that. It's part of, part of what the children are doing and part of getting them active. So it's getting down to that level and then piling it all up together to make the whole week special and significant and connected to the rest of the world.
I think we had a really good example in the Tyler's Green one, didn't we, where they used the school to influence the workplaces around them, and that actually spread it geographically, the impact of the event. So
exactly,
right. It's a good example of what you're just saying there.
So if you had one tip to run a successful TravelWise week, what would be your biggest takeaway that you could give somebody?
Just got to have enthusiasm. You've got to believe it, and you've got to have the enthusiasm, and you'll carry people with you. If you see it just as a sort of thing to tick a box on your corporate social responsibility, then you're not going to go anywhere. But engage with people, be enthusiastic, carry them with you, and build it from the bottom.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And I think especially, obviously, we've got the people on this webinar. Obviously, they're in the mindset of doing it. They understand I'm not going to pretend otherwise. So obviously, I think what we need to take away collectively is how we can bring that enthusiasm about with the people that we are then working with.
Yeah.
So whether that's in a business, we've heard business to business examples at Wellbeing Walk. I love that. Focus was well-being, but it was delivering against that agenda. You know, there's a prime example. So there's an example of where you can show enthusiasm. You've adapted it to that audience, and then you've actually used it to deliver something positive out of TravelWise.
Spot on. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Don, so much for your time. It's an absolute pleasure. Do you know what we could do? An entire pod. Sorry, I'm looking at my watch because I need to put a clock up in here. Commit that to memory. So apologies for looking at my watch there, but I'm just checking the time. So what we need to do, we're going to move on to the resources. I think we could shoot probably an hour's podcast very easily, and we probably wouldn't be done at that. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for coming down. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's been great.
Pleasure.
Awesome. Right. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go over to Gail, aren't we?
We are. We're going to go across to Gail, who's going to, now we've spoken about all of that, he's going to give us some guidance around what resources are available, because TravelWise Week is about coming together, but it's also about kind of us supporting you to do the best that you can. So yeah, Gail's going to take us through the resources.
We're going to do a little seating reshuffle as well. Hopefully no one will notice. Oh, you probably will. So bear with us in the studio if you're watching. But yeah, we're going to go to Gail. No, Gail's going to be over there. But if you want to go and jump in that chair, that's absolutely fine. We've got a young visitor coming over. So we'll go to Gail first. So Gail, over to you. And then you, mystery guest, come and sit down over here.
Hi. So I don't know how I'll follow that actually, listening to Don's inspirational stories. We have prepared some amazing resources that we can share with you today, and how you can get involved in TravelWise Week. So I'll just run through some of the resources that we've prepared that are available on the website. We have a TravelWise Week guide. We have a social media kit. We have a travel trail and lesson plan for schools. We have some posters that you can pop up in your organisations, whether that's schools or workplaces. We've got pledge cards, which I hope you can see on the screen. So the pledge cards are available to print, and they're also available to download online, and you can pop your image in there and share what you're doing with us. So yes, so we've got quite a nice suite of resources available. If we can just move on to the next slide. Thank you. So now I want to do the big reveal and ask Adam, what's your pledge, Adam, for TravelWise Week?
Sorry, my pledge. Right. Okay, so I'm going to cycle once in a week. Okay, and I mean, with that, I'm going to structure my diary where I don't have to carry all this camera gear. And I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to commit to one day where I'm going to cycle in and do that.
In the same cycle parking, right? So I can keep an eye on that.
You will. Hold me accountable. I will do that 100%. There we
So
go.
we also have a very special guest. We've got 9-year-old Isaac joining us in the studio today. Let me see. So what I want to ask Isaac is, how do you travel to school at the moment? How do you get to school every day?
Just talk together. You're fine.
I walk to school.
You walk to school. So on TravelWise Week is supposed to be fun. We want to have a good time, but we want to do something a little bit different. So what are you going to pledge to do on TravelWise Week? How are you going to get to school?
On TravelWise Week, I will ride my bike to school.
On your own?
No.
Well, you'll go with your mum and dad and sister. Brilliant. So you're going to cycle on TravelWise Week every day or just one day? Maybe just one day.
I think Nick's nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So the point is, no matter how big or small your pledge is, just to do it on one day, you're making a difference, but we really want you to have fun along the way. So thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, everyone would be giving you a big round of applause right now, but because you're on here and we're online, you can't hear it. How bad's that? But no, massive thank you to Isaac. I think we in here are going to give Isaac a round of applause. There we go. Thank you very much, Isaac. He's been interrogated by Gail and committed. So, no, great work. Right, okay, so we've now got a spot. Are we on the next bit?
Yeah.
Oh, we're in the next slide. Yep, sorry.
Slide behind.
It's just for one day or for the week. So obviously, you know the dates of TravelWise Week. So that's what we want you to do. All the resources are on the website. So you can just go to the resources page of the Modeshift website for that. So moving on to the TravelWise Week Awards. So the big reveal of how to get involved in the awards. So all participating members and organisations can be recognised through the Modeshift TravelWise Week Awards. So unlike the resources, resources are available to everybody. The actual awards are only open to Modeshift members or members who have sites on the STARS system, if that makes sense. So here are the awards that you can join in and register for. So we've got the Best Modeshift TravelWise Week campaign for schools, Best TravelWise Week campaign for higher education, business and workplaces, and local authorities. So we really encourage you to register on the website. There is a form if you just move on to the next slide. So anybody can register on the website before the 30th of September. So you've got until after TravelWise Week to register your participation. And then you need to complete your submission before the 1st of October. I just can't see the screen, unfortunately, because of Tom's head. So as you can see, all award applications, I'm sure you can read the screen with the information on there. Unfortunately, a glitch I can't see because of the microphone and Tom's head. But anyway, so the awards, we really hope that you get involved and share your campaigns with us. And just again, just to reiterate, no matter how big or small your campaign is or your pledges, please get involved and have fun along the way. That's the point. And as Don said earlier, it just doesn't matter what you do. Start from the bottom and just make it fun. Okay, so that is the awards. I'm going to move on now and talk to you about what's coming up. So upcoming events. We have our next online team talk on the 11th of July, where we launch our Healthcare Stars programme. So join us for that on the Thursday, the 11th of July, between 12 and 2 o'clock. The details are on the website of how to sign up. Next slide, please. We have some training booked. We hope you can join us. You need to be a Modeshift member to sign up for the training. The dates are the 26th of September and the 3rd of October. Again, details are on the website under the training section. Next slide, please. The Modeshift Convention, drum roll, please. Dates in your diary. Bookings are now open on the 19th and 20th of November at the Royal Armouries in Leeds. Details on the screen and on the website. So we hope to see you there. Next slide, please. Seems like a long way away, but it soon creeps up on us. We have the STARS conference on the 27th of March next year in a very, well, it's just an amazing location, amazing venue at the Royal Society in London. So please make sure you've got that in your diary. Next slide, please. And thank you. That's what it says on the screen. And back over to questions. So I'll pass over to Tom and Adam now, just to recap. Thank you.
Yeah, I might need it to be there. Okay, so we've got some questions. Sorry, we're just trying to coordinate. I can't get the same screen on my camera. If you can see that on there, if you want to just pass it over to me, that'd be absolutely fine. Yeah, I'll shout them out. Right, we'll take some questions. We've got Nick off camera. Oh, Nick, do you want to come and sit down briefly? Come on, you may as well get him on. Come and sit down, Nick.
See if you can fit in there next to my head, Nick.
Yeah, apparently Tom's head's really, really big and people can't see the TV screen. So we hope you can see your microphone from there. Right, what questions have we got, Nick?
First one from Joanne Bassett. So question to Hull, if Caitlin is still around, maybe. What was the uptake for the Rusty Rider rides, and what methods did you use to deter bike theft?
Yes, so there were about half a dozen that took part in the Rusty Rider Taster sessions, but we received 70 inquiries to book onto the course during Freshers Week at the University of Hull. With regards to bike theft, delivered at our city centre event, Humberside Police delivered secure bike marking, with Neighbourhood Network also offering discounted D-locks on the day.
Okay, thank you for that, Caitlin. Hopefully that answers the question. Feel free to submit a follow-up question. What's the next question then, Nick?
Yeah, so from Joanne Bassett, does anyone else find school engagement difficult? Schools don't want to think about anything this side of the 6 weeks holiday. Then when they return to school in September, they're too busy to engage in time.
I think I can take this from when I was working on STARS communications, because I totally agree. It is a difficult challenge to do, difficult time of year, and those challenges are very real. Let's not pretend otherwise. It's absolutely relying on your champions in the schools that you work with. So what I would suggest and what I would do is look for the ones where I can get the lower hanging fruit, as it's called, where you know you've got people engaged, and start priming them with there. And then I'd be trying to look at, say, a head teacher's local meeting, see if you can get there and get that shared across the head teaching network for a school. That's sort of the approach. Anything you need to do?
No, I just think as well, don't be overawed on this call too much. But, you know, we all want to get involved and do an awful lot, but it is a little or a lot. It's just be part of the campaign. So, yeah, if you find it difficult to get a week-long activity or a huge amount of things going on at that time of year in a school, then just remember, you know, it can be a small event just to involve the kids and get people involved as well. So don't be overawed by it.
Yeah, that's one of the key messages we're trying to put out, is just anything that you're doing during that week that encourages people to walk, wheel or ride. Yeah. Get it logged, get it on the system. Yeah. It all counts towards TravelWise Week.
Rob Bounds, go, fire away. Submitted a message there.
Yeah, I've just put it in the chat. I was just saying, although it is a busy time of year, a lot of schools are doing their accreditations for this term. So when I'm with schools and I'm saying, ticking off things that they've got to do for the next level of accreditation is already putting in that PR28 ready for September, to say that that's something that they can do in September just as a start, because it's the start of the new term. So it could just be even just some simple messaging about, we're getting back in September, let's not forget about travelling actively to school as part of the welcome back to school, but also signing up for some of those other initiatives that are going to be coming up in September. So even if you're just making a pledge during TravelWise Week that actually you're going to take part in Bikeability Trust Cycle to School Week, which is the following week, that's all part and parcel of sort of promoting that message and using that. And even maybe just doing an assembly presentation on why it's important to travel actively. The slides are going to be shared as part of today, so maybe taking the presentations that I did and rehashing some of that for an assembly presentation or something similar, just to really as using it as a springboard for the rest of the academic year.
Appreciated for that very thorough answer, and obviously grounded in a lot of experience doing amazing things down in Derbyshire. Any other questions?
Yeah, just one last one, I think, from Shirley Clark. So what do schools win?
Ooh, what do schools win? I think you saw the
Honour, prestige.
Did you see the kids in the video? Honour, prestige, excitement, ability to link it into things within their own learning and experiences in school, which I know Tyler Green did a lot of. But yeah,
amazing wooden award that they were showing off in the video.
Hopefully he spotted the wooden award as well, yeah. But we do hand the awards out at the National Sustainable Travel Awards as well, part of a bigger event. So there's an opportunity for whether it's the kids or perhaps it's more the teachers that will come along to that. So huge amount of things to get involved in as part of whether you're shortlisted for the win or whether you win it itself. So yeah,
I think you can couple that into your junior travel ambassador projects if people are delivering those, or you can combine it with so many things and it can count towards their Modeshift Stars accreditation, or whether they're going for other accreditations, things count towards that.
Yeah.
There's all the partnership stuff that we Modeshift have and things like that. So I think it's about thinking about the broader piece and how this can contribute to multiple things, and therefore it's hopefully time well spent and can go towards a lot of awards, accreditations, things like that.
Yeah, it's certainly recognised and celebrated, so that whether it's the kids or the big kids in terms of local authorities and consultants, it's time well spent and they are recognised.
Fabulous. Right, I think that's it for Q&A. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, thank you for your brief cameo. Much appreciated.
I'd have got dressed up if I don't know.
You'd have got dressed up.
No, yeah.
He's been flying around the cameras. I've been like, you want to get on them. So no, thank you so much for that. That brings us basically to a close. I mean, what were your key takeaways that you've seen, heard from today?
Enthusiasm from Don, I think, and those that presented and submitted questions. I think I've been working supported by Don probably for just over a year now in terms of TravelWise Week, and enthusiasm, fun, and kind of that just willingness to get involved without kind of overthinking it are the huge takeouts. And I think that's come out of today as well. But also the partnerships. So whether that's kind of get partnerships within a workplace, which SAJ showed really well. Partnerships in terms of a local authority, so transport providers, workplaces across a certain geographical area. And then Tyler's Green, really that partnership between workplaces and the school and how they can work together. But none of those things happen unless you've got a focal campaign or something to kick that off. And that's what we want TravelWise Week to be the continuation of last year or the opportunity to really kickstart things this year. So yeah, partnerships, fun and enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I think the final takeaway is, if you're not in a position to deliver these big marketing campaigns and things like this, that's okay. Just, pick a key focus on what you're going to work on. Like Don said, it doesn't have to be the biggest project in the world, but you can certainly deliver an impact for a well-delivered project.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be sharing all of the slides following this presentation. If you do have questions, feel free to get in touch and email the events inbox, events@modeshift.org.uk. And that's still the email address, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
It's one of them.
I'm just assuming that's one of them, but send it to any. No, send it to that. And if there are any questions or anything like that, all the resources and links will be made available. And just a quick reminder, if you want to book places on that training, obviously spaces are limited, and make sure that you get your places secured. They are fantastic courses. and they can really help people out. So if you want more information on any other things that have been discussed, please by all means get in touch.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we are there.
Yeah. Huge thanks for everyone getting involved in the webinar today and the work you've put into it.
Yeah,
And
massive
everyone
thank you to
joining.
everyone that's presented. Massive thank you to Don and of course Isaac over there. He is over there in the corner. Well done, Isaac, for stepping in last minute. And of course, massive thank you to Gail for interrogating Isaac and saying Tom had a big head. So without further ado, I think we will close the webinar there. It's been an absolute pleasure to host you all, and we do hope that you have found it useful.
Thanks. Cheers,
Take
guys.
care. See you later.